Good morning, everyone. We're continuing here in the words of the Rambam in his Hagdama to MISHNEH Torah, and we're holding by the time of the codification of Talmud Bavli. Nimsa Ravina Rav Ashi v'chavreihem. We find that Ravina and Rav Ashi and their friends, Seif Gedolei Chachmei Yisrael, they are the end of what we would call Chazal, the sages of Klal Yisrael. Hamatikim Torah Shebal Peh. They affixed the Torah Shebal Peh, the oral Torah. V'shegazru gezeros, they made many gezeros, decrees. V'yiskinu takonos, they made different fixings. V'hanhigu minhagos, and they showed us what the minhagim, the proper customs were. Upashtu gzeroisam, v'tignoisam, uminhagoisam b'chol Yisrael, and their gezeros, and their takonos, and their minhagim spread out to all of Klal Yisrael, to wherever Klal Yisrael was. So at this time, we're talking about from Bavel on. So wherever there was, and there was a back and forth between Bavel and Eretz Yisrael, and whatever countries were around where there were Yidden that would find out what was said, all of these halachas, all of these laws, all of these gezeras, all of the mitzvahs that were revealed through Torah Shebal Peh, they were given over to all of Klal Yisrael. The Achar Beis Dino Shel Rav Ashi, and after the Beis Din of Rav Ashi, Shechibra Talmud B'Yimei B'nai V'Gomru, when the Talmud was finished in the time of his son, Nispazru Yisrael B'Chol Artzos Pizer Yeser. Now, says the Rambam, we come into a very big crossroads in history, and that is that at this point, once that the Talmud is finished, suddenly Klal Yisrael begins getting spread out throughout the world. V'higio l'katzavais, and they reach the corners. U'la'iyim, and they reach islands. Harachoikim, far away. V'rabas kitata ba'olam, there was a lot of division and fighting in the world. V'nishdabshu hadrachim, the roads and the travel became very difficult. Begaisais, there were lots of bandits along the way. V'nismai Talmud Torah, therefore learning Torah was nismai, became decreased, because v'lo niskansu Yisrael lilmod b'yeshivoseim alafim ravavos k'mo shayim b'kodim. The Yidden simply could not make it into the yeshivas in the droves, in the thousands like there were before. The roads were blocked off by the bandits, by the armies, by wars that were taking place. Klal Yisrael was already on Dalit Kanfei Sa'aretz. It was spread out into different places. We were no longer the unified nation that we were when we were in Bavel or when we were in Eretz Yisrael, and therefore it made the learning and the erudition of the Chachamim of that generation much more difficult, because we didn't have the gigantic yeshivas, we didn't have the thousands of people that were learning anymore. It became harder to access Torah Shebal Peh in mass. Hashem Korah, rather individuals, great people in different areas, b'chol ir v'ir, b'chol medina, in every city, in every country, v'oiskim b'Torah, they would be the ones that would be oisik, that would be engaged in the Torah, u'mevinim b'chibor ha'chachamim, and they were able to understand the writings of our Chazal, our sages, kulam, all of them, v'yodim em derech ha'mishpat heichu. They were the ones that were able to understand what the halacha was based on their learning. But it was no longer in mass. It was no longer the gigantic yeshivas of Pumbedisa and Syria like we had in Bavel. It was no longer like it was in Eretz Yisrael. It was smaller individuals, tinier yeshivas with less people that were learning. Nevertheless, these were the great leaders, the Sridei Eish. These are the people, the fiery chachamim of that generation. They themselves were able to reach that clarity. The Kol Beis Din She'amar Achar Talmud, and every Beis Din that came after the Talmud, the Kol Medina in every single country, the Gazar Ayhiskin Ayhinig Livnei Medinasai, and they would make gezeras, decrees, or takanas, or fix things up according to what was going on in their Medina, in their place. Whatever they decided in that private Beis Din did not spread out to the rest of Klal Yisrael. Because everybody else is far away. and the roads were hard to get to, and they could not pass over the messages. They could not get the word of HaKadosh Baruch Hu, the word of the Chachamim elsewhere. And therefore it became very personalized, the way in which they would keep these takanas and gezeres. Now we'll have to discuss this more tomorrow. What does it mean that they had a gezer that was not accepted by all of Klal Yisrael? They had things that they were keeping over here that wasn't kept other places. The Rambam is going to try to explain tomorrow better, Be'ez Hashem, as we go through more of the words, what exactly that means. So we'll understand that the Torah itself is still unified, it's still one, it's still the way that it was given by Maimon Har Sinai when HaKadosh Baruch Hu bequeathed it to Moshe Rabbeinu, who passed it down from generation to generation to all of us, Be'ez Hashem. Have a wonderful day.